Developing right now, the cleanup is just beginning after a train derailment in Loveland.
Yeah, police say that this happened overnight near the intersection of Madison and 8th. 90's reporter Brianna Fernandez is live from the area this morning. Brianna, what more have you learned?
Hey, good morning, Jordan, Corey. So right now you can see that train derailment right over my shoulder. We know there's also a diesel spill that was contained according to Loveland Fire as well as the Loveland Police Department. They said that it did not spread to the creek that's right near the train tracks that you see over my shoulder. So I'm going to step out of the way. It's kind of hard to tell because it's really dark out here, but once the sun comes up, we'll get a better look of this train derailment that happened overnight. So if you're familiar with this area, this happened just west of I-25 between 8th and Madison Avenue. That's right near a Home Depot near Highway 34. So police say that this train is operated by Great Western Railway of Colorado. We're being told that there's no injuries, and crews cleared the scene right around 4 a.m. and turned the scene over to the rail company. So they brought in their own hazmat contractor to take care of that spill. That's who we're seeing right now on scene. So the train cars will be cleared later today, but according to the Loveland Fire Department as well as the police department, the exact time on when that will happen is still unknown, which could cause some traffic impacts right along Madison Avenue. So if you're in this area heading out of Madison Avenue into Highway 34, maybe taking I-25, this area might be closed at some point later this morning. Of course, we're going to stay on scene and bring you the latest as this train clears up later this morning. I'm going to send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Brianna, thank you.
And this is only the second train derailment to happen in Colorado in just the last 2 weeks alone. Remember, last Monday night, an Amtrak train left the tracks after hitting a semi-truck in Keensburg. That truck had failed to stop at the stop sign. The train's engineer went to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. It took a couple of days for crews to clean up that mess so train service could resume. Well, today, opening statements are set to begin in the murder trial of a former Greenwood Village police officer. Adam Holland is charged with killing a teenager. The case centers around this doorbell camera capturing what happened outside a home in Aurora the night before Thanksgiving 2021. Investigators say that Holland was following 17-year-old Peyton Blitzstein's car and confronted the teen about his driving. An affidavit says that Holland took out a gun, but Blitzstein shot first. Holland fired back, killing the teen. The trial date had been delayed at least twice. It didn't happen earlier because Holland waived his right to a speedy trial.
This morning, it is day 3 of Denver telling migrant families who have been in shelters for weeks to leave. Right now, the city is sheltering 3,700 migrants, and leaders say there is just not enough room for people still arriving. Advocates are worried people won't have anywhere else to stay. The Denver City Council just approved spending up to $25 million on hotel rooms for migrants, but city leaders are still asking other communities to step up and help out. That doesn't seem to be happening, though. In Colorado Springs, for example, the mayor's office says they won't be offering help anytime soon.
Definitely do not want to welcome this problem to our community. We definitely do not want to welcome this crisis to Colorado Springs. Yeah, this is definitely not a crisis that we want to invite to our community.
Denver tried to make a deal with a private hotel in Wheat Ridge to house migrants, but that fell apart. Denver had also been running a hotel shelter in Aurora, but had to close it. In Lakewood, the mayor says any migrants needing services will be referred back to Denver. Leaders in Lakewood are also making false claims that the city is planning to use schools to house migrants from Denver. 9 News found out that's not actually happening. Now, the head of the Jeffco Republican Party held a town hall meeting last night. One of the speakers, former GOP Congressman Tom Tancredo, suggested Lakewood was offering sanctuary. Lakewood, Denver, and Jeffco schools all say that is not happening, and event organizers declined to provide any evidence.
Today in Washington, lawmakers will have a procedural vote on the border security bill. They have been working on it for months now. President Joe Biden suggested that if that bill was in place today, he would shut down the U.S.-Mexico border. That's because the bill would allow the U.S.-Mexico border to close if more than 4,000 migrants try to cross daily for a week. On Monday, officials recorded 4,800 migrants at the border. The bill might not ever make it to the president's desk, though the deal also includes money for Ukraine, Israel, and Palestine, which Republicans are against.
It's 6:05 right now, and today Republicans in Congress are planning to bring up another vote to impeach the Homeland Security Secretary. They already tried yesterday, but it failed by a single vote. GOP House leaders claimed Alejandro Mayorkas committed high crimes and misdemeanors for how he handled the southern border. Colorado Congressman Ken Buck was one of 3 Republicans to vote with Democrats and block the impeachment.
Well, my reaction is it's going to change tomorrow, as so many things do in Congress. But I think the principle is very clear that Mayorkas did not commit a high crime or misdemeanor.
One Republican was absent yesterday for the vote, so they're planning to bring the vote again once everyone is present.
New overnight, nobody won the Republican primary in Nevada. Voters chose the none of these candidates option. Nikki Haley was the only major candidate on the ballot, and there wasn't a write-in option. Donald Trump was not on the ballot. Nevada also has a Republican caucus where Trump will be on the ballot, and that is happening tomorrow. On the Democrat side, President Biden won last night's primary.
As we get closer to the general election in November, you're going to start to see more warnings about AI on social media sites. Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, says it's going to start adding more labels on AI-generated pictures. Until now, Meta only labeled those images when they were made with its own tools. Meta says you'll start to see the changes within the next few months. This is only for pictures. Meta says it can't easily detect audio and video made with AI.
Today, state lawmakers are discussing how to better help our agricultural community that too often doesn't get the mental health help that they need.
9 News reporter Anusha Roy joins us. In Anusha, it's become obvious there just isn't enough money dedicated to this community or enough resources.
Yeah, I mean, every conversation I was having, it becomes really apparent that that is a huge issue. And really, at the crux of this is that care is so complicated and it is so different for the agricultural and rural community. You think about all of the factors they have to deal with, from commodities to weather to different financial challenges. Then you add in CDC data that shows across the country the suicide rates for farmers is nearly twice the national average, and that 60% of rural Americans are living in designated mental health care provider shortages area, according to the State Department of Agriculture. All of those concerns are now reaching the Capitol, and one of the bill sponsors that we're talking about today said while there are some programs like coffee meetups and grants and outreach work, it's clearly not enough.
There was a gentleman they told me about who was talking about being completely out of water. And at the beginning of a season, that's not good. So he says, I'm planting in just nothing. I'm just planting in dirt, planting seeds. And he said that the only thing that got him through that harvest was the friendship that he had with his animals who needed him. And he said, this coffee that AgWell.
So obviously he had other needs, but something as simple as a coffee meetup where there was someone to check in on him, he said that had a tremendous impact on him. It brings us to a major issue here, and that is the shortage of behavioral health care workers. And it's why bill sponsors are hoping this proposed legislation would open up more conversation for things like meetups or designated trained community members to help, especially when more traditional lines of support may not be the best fit, and we know that there's just not enough people. It would also make sure representatives from this community are at the table as the state is creating policies and programs. This bill, along with others focused on the agricultural community, will be discussed at the Capitol later today.
Anusha, it's not hard to see the challenges that a lot of people in the agricultural community face. I mean, it's long days, it's grueling work. There's a lot of pressure to deliver on something that's beyond your control. And on top of that, we know that struggles with mental health really manifest in isolation. What you think about it, they're working alone all day long.
Yeah, isolation is a huge issue. And also the other part is that they are geographically removed from a lot of the resources. So they have to go 2-3 hours and they have to drive to get that help. So the idea here is, how do you create a system that actually makes sense for this community and meet people where they are?
All of those challenges, and they still continue to do the work and feed America. So hopefully we can get the resources that they so desperately need. Anusha, thank you.
Well, one thing you want to know about the weather today is the snow continues to stream into the high country as we have clear skies here in Denver. We're going to see a pretty nice day today with mild conditions, 40s and 50s along the Front Range, with an increase in clouds, maybe a shower late in the day.